Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel and today's video. So the Swedish word of the day is proud, which is the Swedish stolt. Stolt. Today I'm going to do a first impression with the Alma palette from Amy Hearts Beauty that she did in collaboration with Amy Loves Makeup. And Amy Loves Makeup is one of my friends here on YouTube, and I just want to apologize because I have been filming for almost 6 hours and I'm so disappointed because I was filming one of my hauls right now and realized I'm in the middle of filming, you know, and I realized that my microphone wasn't really fully plugged in, which doesn't really matter because if it is unplugged, it's just gonna be a worse audio because it's gonna be the audio that my camera picks up. But when it is just halfway plugged in and it's not fully plugged in, all you can hear is this. So my first impression is now gonna be a voiceover because I really love the look that I created, but I am a little bit sick, I have a fever, and I have a sore throat, and I just don't feel like taking all my makeup off. It's late at night, so I don't feel like taking all my makeup off and redoing it, so I'm so sorry about that. I think that all of the audio, I just looked back at like 2 clips. You can't hear a word I'm saying, so I'm so sorry about that. Like, I promise you I will do another tutorial with this, that it's not gonna be a voiceover, just so I'll do this palette justice, because I was so pumped and I was so happy and I talked to you guys and it was so much fun. But now I feel like, oh, I have to redo everything. Oh no, I really want you guys to see this look as the way I created it, because I absolutely love it. So just some few points, or I'm just gonna talk a little bit before we hop into the voiceover. You're gonna see me talk in the clips because I was talking throughout this entire video, but it's just gonna be me talking over it. So it's gonna be a little bit of a crappy video. I'm so sorry about that. Like, I freaking hate my life sometimes. But anyway, this is, if you haven't seen the palette, this is what it looks like. It's an absolute beauty. Do you see that? It's so freaking beautiful. So if you're not known to Amy, Amy is a cruelty-free channel. She does a lot of like indie makeup. She mainly talks about indie makeup. So she does like Will I Buy It videos, but indie style. She only talks about like, mostly anyway, she talks about indie brands. She's a cruelty-free channel, as I said, which is a very big plus in my book. She's a sweetheart. She's a mother of 1. She's a single mother. She's a very impressive person, and she's so humble. She's so sweet, and all I want to do is to take a glass of like red wine and eat cheese and just talk for hours and hours. I adore Amy. She is a doll, and she's one of the kindest people on this platform. So I am so happy and proud of Amy. I'm so stolt of her. This palette sold out within 24 hours. Yes, that's correct. It sold out within 24 hours, but you can pre-order it. So if you do want to pre-order it, you can go ahead and do so on the website. I will of course have all of the information linked down below, just so you can just click in to pre-order it if you want to. It's not gonna ship until January 2nd, and if the pre-order sells out as well, they don't have a date in the near future to come out with the palette again. Now, how I interpret it is that they're not saying that they will never come out with the palette again, but they just don't really have a date or anything in mind for the near future. But maybe they'll do it in a couple of months or something. If people are still demanding it and people are still wanting it, then sure, they might go ahead and do it again. So now that I've said that, I thought that we could just go into the voiceover, and then in the end of the video I can talk a little bit about what I thought about the palette and so on. So the first shade that I'm starting off with is the shade that is closest to my skin tone, and that is actually the shade Bloom. It is sort of like you know, transition shade with a little bit of pink in it. It's very, very beautiful, and I think that that shade is the odd one out, but I love the fact that she included it in the palette, and I will say that later on as well. The next shade that I'm working on right now is the shade Dream Wearer, and I am just putting that in my crease. So the first shade I used closest to my brow, and now I'm going in with the shade Dream Wearer, just, you know, you can see what I'm doing, but on a fluffy brush. And I think that this look, if you took this shade and then slathered it all over your lid, that would be such a beautiful, like, everyday look. I think that that would be colorful, but still not too colorful. Okay, now we're going in with the shade Spirit, which is sort of like a, I don't know how to call it, like a, is it like a periwinkle almost, like a purpley blue? Bluey purple? I don't know. You can see anyway. I'm so bad at describing shades, so if you're new here, hi. I wanted to do an halo look, so that is actually what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get some color there just to distribute it. And the next shade I'm going to go in with is the shade Taurus. That is the deepest shadow in the palette. That is like a really deep blue, which is a very, very beautiful shade for this palette. I really, really love this shade. It's actually very, very beautiful. It had a little bit of kickback, so just be mindful of that. If you were to use this palette, maybe do your eyes first or tap your brush off. So I have actually been waiting for this palette for a while. I knew that Amy was sending it to me, but the postal service had been very, very slow at delivering it. And the one shade that I have wanted to use since I saw her palette was the shade Roman. I think that it doesn't even do its justice in the palette. You kind of have to swatch it for yourself to see how absolutely majestic it is. I mean, look at how this shadow is looking. It's absolutely beautiful. What I did was that I did not have any glitter glue, but I did spray my brush because I wanted to avoid fallout. I feel like you can get away with fallout under your eyes, or you can get rid of it very, very easily if it's a matte. But if it is a shimmer, sometimes it can be a little bit harder. So I did spray it, and it's absolutely perfection. Like that shade, I even showed this palette to my boyfriend, and he was like, that shade is incredible. So I just had to use it. Now I'm going back to the shade Taurus, and then I'm just kind of building up the look again, or the crease, just to make the look go a little bit well together. And I'm also gonna take that shadow under my eyes, and then I'm gonna blend it out with the shade Dream Wearer and Spirit. And I did like it, but I didn't love it, so I actually went in with a little bit more of the shade Blessed, because I wanted the look to look a little bit more blue. Since this look is a little bit more intense than I have done recently, I wanted something to match the look, so I actually whipped out one of my ColourPop gel liners in the shade Zulu. I love to add this in my waterline with a brow brush, a smaller brow brush actually, and just take it on the sides, and it's so beautiful. And the shade that I took in my inner corner is the shade Cloud 9. I'm gonna zoom you guys in so you can see how this looks, because it's so intense and so beautiful. And I'm also actually going to take later on the shade Petal as a highlight on my skin, but you'll see that more later on. So now that we're done with the tutorial, again, I'm so sorry. I wanted to talk a little bit about my thoughts on the palette, and I will say that the palette did have some kick up, or a lot of kick up actually. The mattes has a lot of kick up, and you guys know I say this over and over again. It doesn't bother me. To me, it doesn't really bother me, as I said, but it does look a little bit beat up over time. It will probably look even more beat up all of my palettes do. I'm a heavy-handed person, so when I dip into shadows like this, I really have to think about it. Like, I need to think about the fact that I need to be a little bit more careful with shadows like this because they are so fragile. This shadow actually arrived a little bit broken. All you need to do is like press it back again. There's no problem. I've done that with Juvia's Place shadows as well. When I have dropped them and they have kind of broken, just take a little bit of toilet paper on top and then just press with your finger. That's usually what I do. Sometimes I can even go over it with a lipstick if I want that clean surface. So no problem there. I think that the mattes are really pigmented and blended in so beautifully together. The shade Bloom is a shadow that I just absolutely love that she threw in. Having it in this palette, it looks maybe a little bit out of place. I would say that this is like the odd one out, but it actually makes a lot of sense because it isn't a brown. It has a little bit of like pink in it, so it is a very beautiful skin tone kind of color to just start off your look with. I said this in the video, but obviously you couldn't really hear it. When I had used only this shade and then the shade Dream Wearer, I said that this is the sort of shade that I could just see myself take all over my lid, the shade Dream Wearer, all over my lid, and then just a little bit of shimmer in my inner corner and a little bit that just goes on my lid, and it would look so freaking beautiful, and it would just look bomb and still not be too overpowering of a colorful look to have on an everyday. Another thing I want to note is that the mattes they're obviously mattes, but they have a little bit of sheen to them. And what I mean with that is, for instance, if I just take the shade Dream Wearer like this and just swatch it right here, you can see I would describe them sort of like the Strobe Cosmetics Super Cute palette. I've talked about them so many times that they are matte, but when you take them on the lid and you do like a matte look, they look sort of like a veil on top of your lid. They don't look dry, crusty and patchy as some mattes can do. They can look kind of dry and a little bit crusty in my personal opinion, but these mattes are very velvety. As I said, they feel very smooth and buttery, so if you were to do an all matte look with them, they would look super pretty. I think that they would anyway. I feel like they blend it out that way, and I really like mattes like that. The shimmers are out of this world. I did not use a glitter glue when I went in with the shadow Roman on my lid. I just think that it looks absolutely beautiful, and the inner corner shades are just so beautiful. I'm so happy that she included the shades here, like the white shades or the beige shades, but they have different undertones. So they have a purple, a pink, and a blue. And Amy, to me, is like the queen of inner corner highlights. So I'm so happy that she included that, because to me, that is what really gets me happy. And I'm so happy that she included it, because it really makes the palette stay true to Amy, which I'm so happy about. You know, when swatching some of these shimmers, like for instance the shade Love and Wish, they're not like the normal shimmers that's just a shimmer, but they have like glitter and other sorts of dimension to them, which is like the best of the best. I forgot to say that the palette is vegan and of course cruelty free. Amy is cruelty free. She wouldn't collaborate with a brand that wasn't cruelty free. Oh, and also I took a little bit of the shade Petal, which is this one that has a little bit of a pink shift to it, and I did use the highlight Amrezy, you know, the ABH Amrezy highlight as a base, and then I took that one just on top of it right here. So you can probably see like a little bit of a pink shift to it. Just beautiful. Like, it looks so beautiful on cheeks, so you can use it as highlights as well. But I think that that was all I wanted to say, and if I did forget something, I'm gonna see if I can film tomorrow as well and maybe have another video up as soon as possible with this palette, just because I'm so disappointed about the fact that this audio thing happened. So I'm gonna do my very best to record a new video as soon as possible. If I missed any information, I'll have it in that video. But Amy will be linked down below. Amy's video that she did when she talked about this palette is gonna be linked down below, and other videos that she has done with this palette is gonna be linked down below, and the website, of course, is gonna be linked down below as well, so you can go ahead and check that out. But if you like this video, like it. If you dislike this video, I don't blame you. I really don't. Don't forget to subscribe to Amy, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.